Indeed, we do start in West Africa, where Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari's health has been a subject of concern in the country. His deputy, Yemi Osinbajo, has issued a brief after visiting the head of state in London, where he has been on prolonged sick leave. President Buhari handed over power to his deputy following his departure to London. Now, according to Nigeria's constitution, Osinbajo would ascend to the presidency should Buhari be unable to continue ruling the West African country.
He's in very high spirits. He's recuperating very quickly. We had a very long conversation. We spoke for well over an hour. And his humor is all there. He's doing well.
Well, for more on the president's health, we're now joined by CGTN Sophia Dengo live from Abuja. Sophia, of course, Nigerians have been anxiously awaiting news about their ailing president. How has the assurance that Buhari is recuperating fast, how's that been received back home?
Well, Lindy, as you've seen with acting President Yemi Osinbajo really reaching out to the press and expressing that President Muhammadu Buhari is really keeping to his word in checking in with his doctors and looking forward to stepping back into the office as president. The general public really here has been hanging on acting President Yemi Osinbajo's every word when it comes to President Buhari's illness, really because there's been a large portion of non-disclosure on Buhari's part, especially when it comes to his aides really not being open about exactly what is ailing President Muhammadu Buhari. But reaching out also on his Twitter, Yemi Osinbajo has assured that the public must be patient and really just pray indeed for their president to return, which hopefully will be quite soon, indeed.
And indeed, still some mystery that surrounds the exact nature of the illness. But of course, we know that Vice President Osinbajo has been steering the country in the absence of Buhari for 2 months now. What are people saying about his leadership and the possibility that he may take over the reins of power?
Well, it's been a very mixed view. As you know, acting President Osinbajo is really part of the larger, ruling party here and ran on the ticket with President Buhari. Really, when it comes to his leadership, acting President Osinbajo, what a lot of critics have said is that really it is business as usual, and there are really pertinent matters that have been resolved under the Osinbajo leadership, although really keeping in mind that if indeed anything were to happen, they would need to have, an executive consensus amongst the ministers and, of course, in line with the Constitution if there were to be a change in government. But at the moment, a lot of critics of Buhari have said that if only he would come out and, and let the public know how dire the situation is, then it would be easier to be able to sort of have, to charter a path or a strategy in terms of leadership going forward. But on a whole, the good news, as I suppose, on a whole, coming from acting President Osinbajo is really that President Muhammadu Buhari is recuperating and will be back in office rather soon, and that's what we'll have to take from his word. Lindy.
And overall, that is good news indeed. Thank you so much, Sophia. We'll just ask you to stay on the line for us. We'll come back to you in just a moment. But